welcome to my podcast. Wow, it's exciting to be here to record another edition of this. This is amazing. Thank you for listening so much. I'm excited about today because this is an interview episode. Yes! Let's see what we have for this interview. I reached out to a guy who I know around town. His name is Abass, and we had a great conversation the other day. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, this conversation seems like you're willing to go and share, and it sounds really enlightening and beautiful. Let's almost like stop right here. Would you come and talk to me for this episode of a podcast? Would you share? So we're just going to have a conversation like we do, and share some happiness, some stories, hopefully. And remember, not everybody's a great storyteller. We'll see. But that's a skill, you know. You can work on that. If you're not a great storyteller, you can break down what it means to be a great storyteller and become better. Some of the best people, you know, used to not be that good. So here we go. He should be coming down any minute, and then we'll get started. Play. If you're not really a musician, you know, anybody can do that.
Look at you, you're all equipped with mics and...
It's a hack job. I have a friend who came over and he was like, oh, he's a really good like podcaster and voiceover guy, and I should probably get him on too. But he was like telling me everything to do. Oh, you gotta get this set up and this set up. I was like, how about if mine sucks, but I'll just try, you know, I'll try hard. Yeah. So I got like water, and there's like a soda if you prefer soda. Yeah. Thank you. And you can sit on the ground anywhere you want. You can whatever you want to do, because it's just like, I guess, I don't know.
It's fine this way. I like the apartment, the way you did, like finish, like the.
You think it all matches?
Nice. Yeah. It's nice.
It's home, you know. I think I made it like home.
Yeah.
Like a little sanctuary.
You're a bit different from me, because for me, I don't like to see anything on the walls.
Yeah.
If you notice, like my whole wall is just
no
empty.
Paintings.
Nothing. It's just like, for me, it feels more relaxing if I, even though I appreciate the paintings, I appreciate everything.
Yeah. You see, I have that thing there, and like something big there. I feel like a space is expanded through changes of vertical shapes.
Right. Oh, that's what.
So like something vertical there, something horizontal there, you know, and if it repeats like throughout the place, I feel like more of like a flow or something, rather than if like every wall is the same. I'm making it sound crazy. So I want all of my walls to be the same. But there's like, I don't know, I never really thought of it until I was like trying to explain, why do I want a big thing there, you know?
Yeah.
And that picture, I love that picture.
It's cool.
It's romantic.
It's romantic, however, like I feel bad for the two guys who are having the umbrellas. Are they trying to protect the two people or what?
Like the house staff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. Sometimes I wonder if, I think I wrote a whole big thing on that once, but I was like, why do I like that? First of all, it's not too, even though there's dark clouds in the back, it's like, it doesn't feel it doesn't feel dangerous.
Right.
So it feels, and I think it might be a flirtation between those two house people. I think they might be having fun.
It seems that they are dancing too.
Yeah, right? Like they're like holding those umbrellas, they're like, look at our crazy bosses or whatever. You know, this could be fun.
They're having fun. Yeah, that's true. I see that now.
Maybe. It is a good interpretation,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the 2-bedroom apartment. We should say that I know you from living in this cool building in LA.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles. And yeah, it was really cool meeting like people and just bringing like awesome people into this community who I just think were responsible, friendly, nice. So.
Well, this has been, what, a year and a half now?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came here, I definitely fell in love with the apartment. with a big window in there.
Yeah.
Because I really like spacious things and um,
Yeah, you have that towering window.
yeah. Plus, you were also nice at that moment to me, so it's like seems like a cool place to be around here.
I probably gave you some of the bad side, right?
The bad side?
Yeah, like I think one of the ways that I bring people in is I know like the downsides and the good things about like a community. So, you know, I think I was in the mood of doing that for people a lot. Like I'd be like, hey, it's cool, it's great to live here, but here's something you're gonna have to deal with.
But that means you're honest. Like you're like.
Yeah.
It's not. Maybe that's what also made me feel like more relaxed here because I know wherever I go, it's gonna be, you know, nothing is gonna be perfect. But however, like usually, like salesmen or usually like people who are trying to convince you, they show you only the good side, and then you will be like surprised.
It's got to be a legit bad side too. You can't just be like when I was looking at cars the other day. I don't know. You know, like the only bad thing is the air conditioner blows so cold.
It's so cold.
It's like that's a fake bad thing.
Yeah.
Or it's, you know, I don't know. Car sales is the worst.
Yeah.
So let's get. I guess I just want to have a conversation. I think like the best conversation is just, yeah, like when you grew up, what did your folks do? Were they in the same line of work, like?
My parents?
Yeah.
No, my parents. My dad he worked for the government.
Yeah.
We have like a national tobacco company where they buy the tobacco from the farmers.
Yeah. And from farmers over there.
Over there.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was.
And we can say like where you're from, right?
Yeah.
Because we were gonna say your first and last name. I don't know how people feel about that. If you're like a celebrity, it's like, hey, my name is Kevin Costner, and I don't mind saying everything.
It's all right. My name is Abass.
All right.
I don't care showing. You know, it's nothing to hide.
And what you're talking about is Lebanon.
I was born and raised in Lebanon until I was 24 when I moved to the United States.
Okay, we'll go back to so your dad and it's like a good living, good job.
Yeah,
he just happened to be in like agriculture.
Yeah, he was you know, he wasn't a farmer, but he was the one who mainly like interacts with the farmer, buy the tobacco from them. And then we had a good life, except for.
Did he sell it to cigarette companies?
So no, he was working for. So the company would sell it to Philip Morris, to British American Tobacco, so they can make money.
Interesting.
You know, the different.
We always think of it as tobacco's coming from Tobacco Row in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, but it comes from
everywhere.
Lebanon.
Well, Lebanon, there's a big farming in terms of tobacco.
Yeah. I mean, how big is Lebanon?
Lebanon, so I know that it's the same size as a state that I don't know how to pronounce. It's called.
There's a state you don't know how to pronounce?
No.
That's awesome.
Connecticut?
Yeah, Connecticut.
Did I say it right?
There's a C that you don't say.
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Right. So it's the same size. We are 3.5 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: there's more people outside Lebanon, Lebanese people outside Lebanon than in Lebanon itself.
Wow, I wonder when that became the case.
And there's more Lebanese in Brazil than in Lebanon.
No way! That just like it makes you kind of reconsider what it is to be of a place. It's like what?
Yeah.
The place it's the people.
It's true.
Not the geography. So, but you do share in common people who've gone through what Lebanon's gone through.
Yeah. It's been like my life there was overall good.
Because it was like a middle class, like kind of.
Middle class, yeah. We lived in middle class. We never felt like we needed something. At the same time, we didn't have the luxury stuff there.
Not luxury stuff.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah, like was it like a big family or what?
We were 3 kids.
Oh, okay.
In the family.
Nice. That's perfect. I love that.
two guys and one girl,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we lived like I was born in 1982, and there was a war then. I lived through my life in 5 wars, but like this actually these has affected me in a positive way rather than in a negative way, these wars.
Are you serious?
Unfortunately I have to say that, but you know, wars are usually like
War.
war and something
Yeah.
bad, but
You mentioned casually the other day, you're like, oh, at that time there was a war, so I didn't do this program. And it's just like, wow. So that sheds light on how you were able to just say that, like, not like, oh, you know what, there's a lot of traffic, so I didn't do that day. You're like, there was a war that day,
so I didn't have to.
so I waited to put in my visa application or something.
Yeah.
Wow. So 82. So your mom is teaching you how to talk, and your dad is teaching you how to talk and walk while there's like a war. How far away from your like place was it?
The war?
Yeah.
We were in the war zone, so we were literally like, you know, like seeing all the bombs coming, and our house was destroyed twice. And
Your house was destroyed twice.
One in 1993, it was like, you know, the destruction was so big.
When you're 10.
Yeah, almost 11.
11.
So it was 11. But good thing we were not at home at that time.
Yeah.
Things happened. But
I mean, you come home and there's like your house has a giant hole in it, and there's a bomb like still smoldering up into the sky, and you guys together go like, well, it's a good thing we weren't at home.
No, not that much. It wasn't that much. Like, you know, oh yeah, let's go out.
Wow.
Something like.
Can we all agree that? Thank
was,
God we decided to see that. It wasn't even a good movie, but.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that much. So it was more of like, you know, the war started like 3 days before.
Yeah.
And then since we lived in a war zone, we always like have to leave when war starts, so we cannot, you know, stay.
Yeah.
So we left to a safer place, to a safer city. But then when we arrived back, yeah, that's how it was. We saw that the house was destroyed. But it wasn't just our house, like, you know.
Yeah, a lot.
When you see, the thing is.
Was that from like things from airplanes or?
I don't know how it. So there is many like
missiles from a long ways away.
Missiles. There's planes.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 missiles.
Okay.
But it was, you know, when you see all of the houses around you, and when you see people dying, you will stop thinking about like these materialistic things, and you'll be like, well, could be replaced. This could be rebuilt. And fortunately, we were able to rebuild, and we keep going. That's how it is.
Yeah, you rebuild and you keep going. But I know one guy named Dan he's from just down the road, and he's Lebanese, and he talked about war. He really seems traumatized a little more by it. But he said the same thing, like, yeah, that on the way to school there would be a bomb.
Yeah.
You know, and. What made me think is kind of a cool lesson to take away from that is when these things are going on, and I don't even want to talk about like who on earth is fighting.
Right. No,
because that's
matter.
A different podcast. That's a different like state of mind that cares about that. I think that we can say that. Doesn't it seem like in every war there are people who are like they just want to live? Like, you guys can fight. This just sucks.
Exactly,
we have to persevere through this.
Yeah.
I wish there were not a war.
Right.
I don't care about anything badly enough to fight a war.
Right.
But if those forces are going to do it, I have to either leave, go on and continue like I can until it becomes just, like, impossible.
Yeah.
So, wow, what a remarkable state of mind that must get you to. So different.
And that's why, like, you know, yes, the concept is war. Nobody likes it, you know, except the people who are benefiting from it.
Yeah, okay.
And there's people who benefit from wars.
There are professional people whose job, right?
Yeah.
Comes from there being wars.
Yeah, exactly. And then who gets killed are those people who are losing. And that's why I didn't want to be there anymore. Like I want to be more in a more relaxed, more safe place.
Yeah.
And that's why I came to the United States. Yeah.
And that's why there are places like Brazil or outside of Lebanon that are like, man, that's a sign of a pretty cool culture. So if there was no war there, would it be pretty cool? I mean, would it be pretty? Are people nice? I mean, do people enjoy life?
Yes. So definitely war affects people negatively, like in terms of their behavior, their personalities.
Yeah.
However, they have been really like supportive of each other through the whole wars until when the politicians start like telling the people, because usually the wars is between one country and another country, right?
Oh yeah.
And when it's this way, the people are nice to each other. Like war has not been affecting them because they want to help each other. Until the politicians start interfering and making the split between the people, the Lebanese people, and that's when they start like, oh, because Lebanon is Christian and Muslims, they'll be like, well, the Christians are trying to rule. Let's not let this happen. Or the Muslims will be like, the Muslims are trying to rule. So they start like using the divide and conquer.
They use that for political purposes only.
Right, and that's when people start hating each other because they are like afraid of the other now, and that's what's unfortunately happening these days in the United States with the political parties. Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully things will...
So that kind of seems familiar to you from how they do it with the two. They really make it seem like there are two. They always make it seem like there are two.
Yeah.
There's a person that can embody values of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
Yeah.
Like we were saying yesterday that it does seem like that there's almost like a revolution of people who are expanding to kind of make their new. It's not a religion, but it's a
movement.
Like a movement. The best values of any religion that they've, get rid of the other ones.
Exactly.
It's almost like an evolution of the religion that you maybe came up with, that I came up with.
Yeah.
And saying like, I can take the best of that.
Right.
And kind of evolve it to a mindful place.
Yeah. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Like
even from like, there are people from Lebanon, from the Middle East, who are doing the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are like, dude, that politician is crazy.
Yeah.
And exploitative. I'm not following that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And at some point I started realizing that, yes, religion at some point, it served a really good thing for the humanity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these days, the humans are not using it in the right way. So I think there should be something not necessarily different religion or whatever, but there's some movement that has to change things, that has to, I don't know, like make, as you said, like to take the best part of all religion, which is like treating people nice, being a good, citizen to wherever you live.
An ambassador of the world.
Yeah.
Like an ambassador, steward of the world.
Yeah, like you have to be helping. Like this is the most important part.
Yeah.
However, like this is not what's happening these days, and I see that even religious people. I don't know here. I don't think it's happening in the United States, but in Lebanon, religious people interfere in politics. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. See, that's what made me feel like religion. It's still a different story to me.
Yeah, yeah. But so was your household growing up religious?
No. Well, yes and no. I mean, moderate, moderate religious, and like they.
Kind of like the routine.
The routine
like
stuff.
This is what we do on at this holiday or whatever.
However, like it does, like they were not in a way that that's what the religious priest or whatever told us to do. We should be doing this. No, they always think about it and try to I was fortunate to be living in such a family, but there are some families who are, blindly following and fanatic in terms of religion.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous to society.
Yeah. but some of them are good. Like I know some people who are like really, really over like here. Some people who are from Christian families that they just like really, really like make every move is about like their church and they want to preach, 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 preach. That's all they do. And like I don't like to get into that with them, but they're really nice, good people. Like they're really generous, and
Yeah.
they really want to. Do you feel like that aspect of like that's dangerous too?
No, no,
I don't
definitely
feel
not.
like it's dangerous. I feel like it's like a little different, but they're awesome. Like they don't have like maybe an expanded worldview that I think is really helpful,
Right.
but they're just amazing people.
What I'm talking about, definitely not these people. And I'm like, if I see somebody religious, of course I wouldn't be like, oh, you're religious, that's bad. No, of course
Right.
not. What I'm talking about those people who think that they, like, especially, for example, think about ISIS these days. They kill based thinking that this is what the religion is telling them, and that's not true. But they are abusing the religion.
Okay.
Think about like there are also extreme Orthodox that if at some point they were killing, like if you look back in Europe, like the Christian Orthodox, or how they were fighting back in the days, they were fighting because of religion, not because of
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm afraid of. I'm definitely not afraid of people who are helping each other, who are like in a community.
Yeah.
No, that's very important to say, and that's why religion is like, if you want to think of the good part of the religion, is this part. It's keeping people together,
Support and yeah, the best parts, and I think maybe that's the cool thing and the exciting thing about like the mindfulness revolution is because the people who are of that awareness, like whenever you were introduced to it, and how I've just been pouring myself into it more and more in the last few months, that seems exciting to me because those people, when sharing that perspective, we can embrace the people who are like religiously dogmatic, like you said, like the dangerous ones, or the ones who are, even if they're not dangerous, they do bring that conflict because they care so much that they're right and that others are wrong. Like we can embrace them and say, we're not going to say that you're wrong. We're going to say that you do a lot of good things. And from this other side,
I like this
like
way of thinking.
you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm excited about. That's why I want to do this podcast, is because, and that's why I want to share like and find. I don't have ideas, but I want to find those ideas that do kind of bring people together, because that's what's going to be like make us be able to tackle really important issues again. Because right now we spend so much time, like people spend a lot of time complaining about the other people, and if we can take some of that time and rise above that and encourage other people to be like, I used to just think it was through education. Oh, we need to just pump more money into schools and make people smarter. But I think it has to be a movement where just more people share that energy with other people.
It's action again, going back to that
action.
If you just want to nag without acting, without pushing something that you're bringing negativity to the whole society. However, if by the way, some actionable things, when you do some action, that's when things change.
That's when things change. And not just complaining. Don't tell somebody how bad the other side is.
Yeah.
Don't. But there's so much of that that's going on. And I think that we need it both here and in, Lebanon and, every country of the Middle East, God knows they need it. So if you, the more you can share stuff like this, the better. Like, look, we're not all like that. There are beautiful things about what your parents believed, but you can transform that. You can elevate that.
Right.
And suck them out of that, whatever.
Right. You have to be always dynamic. Like, you cannot just be stuck in the way thinking was happening before. Things have changed now, and I'm not saying that people should stop being religious or should stop being thinking about the way maybe they perceive God or whatever. No, they shouldn't, but they should at the same time like evolve with what's happening these days. And the technology, they evolve with people,
Mm-hmm.
thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's something that technology has like. I have this saying, this kind of theory, or I don't know, way to understand why there's so much tension in the news. Like, first of all, I feel great because I don't pay attention to politics anymore at all. Like you said, the war, like I'm stepping over the bombs. I wish they weren't there, and I'm trying to find ways to like find other people that aren't gonna throw like drop bombs. But I'm just stepping over them. I'm not checking Google News anymore. I used to be a junkie.
yeah,
You know, I used to be like, whoa, what? This is what's going on. I really did.
yeah,
You know, and I think I've been on both left and right side of it at some point in my life. Um, so I don't do that anymore. And I think what I was gonna say is that the internet, and especially like the internet was one thing, but now it's like handheld internet, 24-hour internet.
yeah,
And it at first seemed like, and like entrepreneurs, it is a sharing of ideas that makes us supposed to come together more enlightened
yeah.
as a world, right?
Right, right.
But it feels like we don't come together with differences. It makes it easier to find people who already agree with us. You know, so we just surround ourselves. We just reinforce ourselves, and I think that there's a lot of people that are just constantly reinforcing and building up momentum for what they freaking believe so devoutly, and it becomes
Yeah,
like a kind of a fanatical thing.
yeah,
So fanaticism gets stronger, whereas for a while I think we were excited that the internet was going to bring us all together.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's okay. There's something you mentioned earlier, which I might disagree with you on. It's
Oh,
not
nice.
listening to the news. Now, definitely, like the news, the way it's coming to us
Mm-hmm.
in its shape, it's definitely affecting us in a negative way, and it's affecting the society to go more towards, hatred and, separating each other.
Yeah,
However,
the sensationalization of
yeah,
okay.
however, at the same time, y- like there's things going on in the world, and if we put our
Blinder,
yeah, if we
close our eyes.
if we close our eyes, you know bad things might keep happening.
This
However,
is a really interesting thing. I'm so glad you're talking about this. This is no, because this is a cool dichotomy that actually goes on in my head.
right,
When are you a good citizen? What's your job? Is your job to be aware of
to
things?
be aware. However, your job is also to be able to filter the news, to be able to filter the bullshit in the news. Like, how
Yes.
can you detect bullshit in the news? Because whatever is presented to us, is there any kind of agenda behind it? Is it because,
Mm-hmm.
they, I don't know what kind of agendas they have when they, like with these political parties. And I'm talking all over the world. It's not just in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, like, one time I read this definition about political science. It's the the art of lying. So you have to detect how they are lying to us. How
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that I was just thinking about this the other day. You know, I got something in the mail for when to vote on the next thing, like
Hmm.
in LA. This is the date of the election, and honestly, my personal trauma just made me not care. You know, this was the thing. You know, I just like I don't care. Somebody else they've got like $1 billion development plan for like the metro rail system. You know, like there's a lot of like forces in that are gonna make that happen. I'm just gonna sit this one out. You know, I don't care. I'm not gonna go to
See,
that.
that's totally fine, but
Is but I also have this like endearing feeling that like you must be like involved and understand things and research. Oh, so would this be a good thing? And and I've
yeah,
done that too. I just maybe it's a time in my life, um, but I do think that what you're saying should happen, and it will happen when people are more like welcome to look. You don't have to listen to this. If that's a fiery, vitriolic speech that politician is giving, chances are he's lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look for sincerity and look for signs of sincerity. That's how you get through the bullcrap stories.
So
How do you know these stories are true? You know, there's so many stories that you could read about, and you're like,
yeah,
I think what you said, filter, was a good word.
yeah, definitely. And I think it might be hard for us at the beginning, like especially if we were raised in a system that is not allowing us to detect these things.
Yeah,
But at some point, like, education, going back to the idea of education, there should be like, they always just teach us sciences and arts, but they forget the idea about, civil education and how can we
mm-hmm.
be better citizens, how can we be able to filter news
Yeah,
like this, how can we be able to, like, for example, I'm a professor of statistics. I teach my students how to, because sometimes like people lie with statistics. Uh, and
yes.
and it's
Yes, you
they
can lie with
you can
statistics,
lie.
and
And
you can tell when they're manipulated,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And then to some people, statistics is numbers, meaning that, oh, this is fact. I'm
That's
like,
true.
well, it's facts, but you have to understand how like the methodology is happening, because it's very easy to switch from one side to another side just by showing the top part of the picture rather than the full picture, and it's very easy to do it in statistics.
Wow, I bet it is. I bet that you can read like an article that has some numbers, and you're just like, oh, people don't understand. They're so focused on that one statistic, they don't understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that is maybe like I mean, even when we're learning arithmetic, we could learn some of the ways that arithmetic
yeah,
can be used.
yeah,
Like, Tommy has 5 apples and Susie has only 2 apples, Like, Tommy has the propensity naturally from some part of his nature that he wants to get the other apple from
from
Susie.
Susie.
So now that we know that, what's a good agreement they can come to? Because we know that they both want as many apples as they can get.
Yeah,
So we got to be teaching kids like how to apply this as good people.
yeah,
As we're teaching them, just 2 + 2 is 4.
it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
And like right now we have a place for that, and it's like that's your religion.
Yeah, yeah,
Religion will teach you that.
yeah. You have also to be, again, critical about religion. In my opinion, I don't know. I still have this in my mind that
Yeah.
there's some, like, if you dig deep inside in every religion, there are certain, scriptures that might be interpreted in a bad way. So there, this has to be cleared up.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think so too. You can interpret anything in a positive way. So if anybody's interpreting it in a negative way, then they don't get it. Maybe they don't get why it's there.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
they don't get it.
yeah, yeah,
If it makes you feel bad in any way, or anybody else feel bad, I think you maybe need to take another pass
yeah,
at it and say, maybe I completely need to shift the way this thing is coming across.
yeah.
That's what I think. I mean,
It's always good to get things with open eyes, open mind, and open heart. Open heart meaning that you are willing to receive people's information, even if they are different from you.
yeah,
Open mind is to filter it.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're gonna suck everything from other people, and that's not what you should be doing.
What do you mean?
Meaning that, like, if, let's say, like, taking the example of both, Democratic and Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
right? For some reason, both of them, they don't want to listen to each other. And
Oh yeah.
there's something good in this party, there's something good in this party, there's something bad, and there's
Yes.
something bad here. However, they they just have the open eyes, but they don't have the open heart. The open eyes because they keep like looking for the bad things in the others,
I see.
and then trying to point them out. So they keep like saying what's bad in you, what's bad in you, but they don't say what's good in you, what's good in me. And that's where the open heart. And if that happens, the synergy is going to be different among citizens. People can still have different opinions, but there's no synergy anymore.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like dedicating myself to what you just talked about, what you just said, and that's a cool way to shorten it. Open eyes and open heart. Right now, where I think we're all showing each other that our eyes can be open. We can find this many bad things, but when we focus on that, it's almost like the concept of validity of a statement. Like if you've taken, I guess it would be like introductory philosophy classes at university or something. Like who says a statement has a measure of validity to it. And I think that we're so used to saying things like, but you're saying that. It's not valid. Like, you're actually making money off of this war and saying it's needed.
Yeah.
We know that, like the definition of what you're saying is invalid. I can't take that, from you. And so when you're a devout, like, person who wants, like, democratic influence more than Republican influence, but you're saying it, it's like it just comes with this invalid, like, because you're delivering it.
Yeah.
You have to find ways to connect, and that's what, dude, I really, really want to do, because there are people I love that are on both sides of, like, basically, I love this person, I love this person thinks everything this person thinks is stupid.
Yeah.
Or evil.
Yeah. That's bad. Like,
yeah, this person thinks that person is stupid and evil. And I'm like, no, I love both of you guys. And let's stop, putting your energy into these things.
Yeah.
Like, elevate, evolve.
What are you gaining from that? Like when they like they fight with each other.
Yeah.
Especially like when they be like, oh, I don't, when they start realizing that I hate this person and because of their opinions. But again, what are you gaining from this? Like,
and I guess you're not gaining anything.
It's an ego thing.
It becomes an ego thing, and it really becomes a pastime. Like, I like football.
Mm-hmm.
It just becomes like you want to get, that enforces something. I think it's almost like an addiction.
Yeah, I guess so.
And maybe just do a little more people who aren't buying that crap and who are publicly saying, and maybe not being afraid to say, look, I love you. I had a really big conversation with my dad. I wish I had that on the podcast when he visited me a few weeks ago. And he's a really, really right-wing guy. I mean, everything ends up being a political statement about how bad the political left is, and
Yeah.
And then I know other people that are just the opposite. Well, because of the political right, wants to do this, and I told him it really seems like he's not joyful. It seems like he cares a lot, and he thinks about these things a lot in a way to just, like, be angry, and he's probably not going to save anything.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to save the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it makes you feel bad and not enjoy your own life.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I had told him that in a while.
But at the same time, he's a very wonderful.
At the same time, he's a wonderful human being. Yeah. And I hate to see him burdened by crap that he just thinks so much. God, this world has problems, It's like, yeah, it does, but it's not your job to tell everybody how bad anybody is.
Right. But this is the only way you can, people by nature, they are driven by, what do you call this? Instinct.
Yeah.
No matter what, like, we all still go back to our animal instinct that we have to be driven somehow.
Yeah.
Definitely when we are grown up, we started, changing that by through education, through our interaction with people. However, the politicians know that there are people who are not necessarily. I'm not saying education in terms of schools education. I'm saying education in terms of, like, the system, in terms of what's hidden behind the layers of the system. And that's why they are able to play with people's mind and manipulate them to move to this side or to that side.
Yeah. I think that. Do you think that there are people that are unknowingly or that's like they're instrumental in that exploitation, but even they are not doing it in some kind of
Yeah.
sinister way. You can be instrumental in that, and you can be like taking care of your kids and paying for their awesome like life and
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Totally.
the job that you have, you're kind of instrumental in that, and you have to be good.
Totally.
And so just like, I think it's a movement thing that hopefully that it'll be. I think like a movement can diffuse some of the vitriol and some of the hate. Let's try to just diffuse some of it.
Yeah.
Like, bring it down, kick it down a notch.
Yeah.
Kick some other things up. So that's awesome. When you were 10 years old and there's a war, how long did you get to go without another war?
Till 1996.
So 3 years.
3 years. So 1996, and then 2000, and then 2006.
Every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2000, when was it that you actually? So you got out of university in 06?
Yes.
Okay.
That time, so I graduated with a master's in computer science, and then like after that, I had a conference in Turkey. It was like around July, and like.
So was it
early
straight
July.
through? Like here, I guess you go like a 4-year degree, and then 2 years. In 2 years or less, you can get a master's.
Right.
Like if you really work hard. Is it the same thing over there? Like,
Yeah.
Did you? So 6 years of school.
Yeah, 6 years. I started in 2000, and then after my masters, I wanted to get my PhD.
Yeah.
And then I applied to schools here. I got accepted, and I got a scholarship in Utah. So I decided to come to Utah. However, in July.
What a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place, and whenever I tell people here in LA that when I first moved, I moved to Utah, they, sometimes they roll their eyes. What were you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad I ended up being in Utah at the
Cool.
beginning. And people are really nice there. So I remember the date, July 12th is when the war started. And then on July 17th, which is 5 days after, that's when was my appointment for the embassy. And I was supposed to be here in the States in August. So it's like a few days,
Right,
like
yeah.
a few weeks in between. So when the war started, like it happened with without, just suddenly it started, like, and people started.
Jeez, that's mind-boggling.
And then I was not in the same city where my parents were, so I was visiting a friend in Beirut, and then the first thing what happens when war starts, they bomb all highways so that the cities are disconnected from each other.
Oh right. Oh my gosh.
So this
I
means
can't imagine if they did that here. That would. Oh.
Yeah. So
What chaos.
it is chaos. And then, fortunately, at that time, I had my passport in my laptop, like with my laptop in my bag. But then I wasn't able to fly because the airport was also bombed. This is another thing that is done. The first thing.
So wait, this was like you couldn't go to the embassy.
So I definitely couldn't go to the embassy.
You couldn't even go to the airport, even if you could
Yeah.
get the correct paperwork or whatever
Right.
signed off.
Even if the airport was there, if I don't have a visa, I can't come here.
Yeah, so
So I
you're
needed a
definitely
visa.
trapped. You're just like.
And the embassy was closed because they were taking care of the U.S. citizens so that they can evacuate
Oh,
them,
they take part
which
in
is-
like an evacuation.
Yeah, that
process.
was really nice of, that's what I like about the United States, how much they respect their citizens. Like, from war, they go and bring them back.
Yeah,
to
we
the-
set up like this office to
Yeah.
help people who are over there.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, that's my luck. But however, I know that things will change. I don't know how. But at the same time, I wasn't very like, I knew that it's gonna work. But at the same time, like I was like, if it doesn't work, that's also gonna be fine. For me, this is my thinking in life. Whatever path I take,
Yeah.
it's a right path. It doesn't matter to me.
Oh, I love that. Oh, whatever path I take, it's the right path.
Because if I didn't end up coming to the States, I know that I'll be probably somewhere else. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll be, I don't know. Like, I know that,
Yeah.
with hard work, I can do something, whatever I am at. Right?
Yeah.
So, at that point, I was like, okay, I am just living a day per day until the war ends. However, that war
Yes.
was not ending.
You were
And-
like kind of open, just okay, I can't
Yeah.
control this.
Exactly.
I'm kind of open to the next thing,
Right.
keeping myself, comfortable, alive for a while.
Right.
Something will come along.
Right. At the same time, I kept thinking what I can do, what I should be doing in order to move on instead of
Yes.
just, staying in the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
place. So I didn't just be like,
You
oh,
weren't just
I
completely
know things-
idle.
Yeah, I didn't think like, oh, I know things are gonna happen in a nice way,
Yeah.
But here I'm sitting on the chair.
I never
no.
want to imply that that's a good thing to just sit and be like something will happen. I mean, when I say sit and think, like I'm talking about like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah,
weeks.
exactly.
Like I'm
exactly.
not doing anything for a few weeks,
Yeah.
So working, thinking, and kind of problem solving. Okay, now I'm solving a different problem.
I'm solving a different problem, so I started, investigating what I can, and then I realized that my brother lives in Dubai. If I were able to go to
Oh.
Dubai, and then I can get a visa from there and come to the States.
Uh-huh.
However, there's a problem, which is the airport is closed.
That's right. Okay.
And then, without even telling my brother, after 2 days after, he called me. He's like, Abass, I'm sending you a taxi from Syria. Syria is like, we have a huge border with Syria.
Yeah, okay.
And Syria at that time, it was still a stable country. He's like, I'm sending a taxi. I called a taxi driver from Syria to come and pick you up from Beirut and then come to Syria, to Damascus. And
How
then
far
from
is
there.
that?
So usually between Beirut and Damascus,
Yeah.
by car it's 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
However, because of all of the highways are
Being all messed up.
down, so you have to take like mountain roads and stuff like this. So it took 9 hours to go from Beirut to Damascus.
That would be like you want to get to San Diego, so you have to kind of like go up around like the Grand Canyon
Yeah.
from
yeah.
here.
Going around, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, you have to you're scared because, if a plane sees a car moving around, then they can just bomb it because they might think that these are fighters or something.
Oh God.
But I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
but I was like, I don't care, either way. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die here.
You are so peaceful sounding to have ever in your whole life been in a car on a busted up mountain road wondering if an airplane is going
Yeah.
to see your car moving
But you have to take
and
risk.
attack it.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
that's
have to
a
take
risk.
You have to take
So
risk.
was this, that's just such a story to me, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you do any of it at night without lights on?
I don't remember.
Like, did it get that
yeah.
intense?
Honestly, I don't remember when. I actually know it was during the day. Now I remember
Okay.
when I left my friend's apartment. It was during the day,
Uh-huh.
and but then I don't I vaguely remember the road because all I'm thinking is like, how can we reach
Destination.
to the destination?
Yeah. So that's why my phone keeps on. So you're going from Damascus to Beirut?
Beirut to Damascus.
Beirut to Damascus.
Yeah.
So you're out by the coast in Beirut,
Yeah.
and you're going into Damascus, Syria, where everything was a little more chill at that time.
Yeah. And they were nice at that time.
And they had an
because-
airport there that you could fly to Dubai.
Yeah. Well, yes, they do. They did. However, there was no flights on that day, so
Okay.
the taxi driver kept driving to Jordan,
Yeah.
to the airport there, so that we can because I didn't have enough time to go, and then remember that if you want to get an appointment from the embassy, it's not like, oh, it's come now.
I encourage anybody who's listening to this, by the way, sorry, to like get out their phone and just put in where these places are, because we know the United States geography really well, but it helps if you are looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the taxi guy, he keeps going to Jordan where there's more flights.
To Amman, yeah, in Jordan. There's more flights. And then I needed to do this. Otherwise, I would have stayed and waited in Syria. But the thing is, in order to make an appointment at an embassy, American embassy, you need to do it like a month in advance. It's not like on the spot. So every day you
walk-ins
lose.
accepted.
Yeah, every day you lose is not beneficial for you. So that's why I had to go there. And then I flew. I arrived to Dubai. On the spot, I called the embassy. It was a consulate in Dubai. I called them and I said, well, I had an appointment in Lebanon, but then, I was able to come to Dubai, but my school will start in like 2 weeks, so it would be nice, if you guys can give me an appointment and come. And that lady, she was so nice.
And this was the embassy staff worker you were talking to?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was so nice. She was like, yeah, do you want to come today? And then today meaning that this is when I arrived to Dubai, like after the whole journey from Lebanon to Dubai without
And
stopping.
how far was she talking about? 2 weeks later? Or?
So she was, do you want to come today?
Today?
Yeah. And then I'm like, I wasn't even thinking. I was just, tired from the whole thing. And then I was like, can I come tomorrow? And then I was like, well, no, I can come today. She's like, no, it's okay. You can come tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then she's like, I will consider you as a war victim. I didn't know what that meant, but I wasn't a victim. I wasn't injured or anything, but she was nice to help.
Yeah.
And then on the second day, I arrived to the embassy, and then when I met to the like whoever is doing the interview with you, and she's like, "Where are you going to the United States?" I said to Utah, and she's like, "Why Utah out of all of these?" I told her the story that I.
What school was it?
Utah State.
Okay.
Utah State. I told her I'm going there. The program I was joining a program in instructional technology, which is really good program in Utah State. I told her, and then I got a scholarship there. That's why I said, it seems a good fit for me. She's like, "Are you sure you want to go to Utah?" I said, "Sure, I want to go to Utah." And then she's like,
I wonder where this lady was from.
I know. And then she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna." She stamped like a 5-year visa.
Okay.
And then she's like, "Before you leave, let me tell you this." She's like, "I'm from Utah. I'm from Logan. I went to Utah State, and that's why I kept asking you, are you sure?"
Oh my God!
And then at that moment, I realized that things are, getting better for me, because I'm like, look out of, all of these Americans in the United States. I ended up meeting with this particular person to do an interview with me, and she was from Utah. She went to the same school I'm going to.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
That's like one of those cool things if you're open to seeing them. Yeah, and if you're on like the right path and you're excited about your path, I think that you start to notice those things.
Exactly.
Those are like little gifts from the universe.
That's very true. Very true. And things started going smooth after this. The people in Utah, they were really nice. They were calling.
What a path to get there, though. So you fly into that Salt Lake City airport.
Yeah. So I flew to, I think, Cincinnati. It was the first. So you land in Cincinnati and then
from Jordan to
from Dubai. It was
right.
Yeah.
That got you to Dubai.
So from Dubai
to Cincinnati.
Yeah. And then from Cincinnati to Salt Lake City.
Uh-huh.
Now it's funny because when I arrived, I wasn't able to do much research in terms of, the geography of Utah or how, the different.
I know you had a lot on your plate, dude.
So I was thinking, based on the movies, I whatever is stuck in my mind is New York. So I was expecting, tall buildings and everything. When the plane landed.
No way.
And then I like on the highway, I see like cows. Not on the highway, like on the side of the highway, and I'm like,
so much open space.
Yes. But it turned out it was like, 5 years I spent in Utah. It was like
really?
My wonderful time I spent in my life was in Utah. It made me like a very happy, positive, relaxed, and peaceful person.
Yeah.
People there are so nice.
Uh-huh.
Like on the second day when I arrived, I went outside to walk to the school, and then I was walking and I see people smiling at me. I'm like, why are they smiling at me? Like, it's nice of them, but I was confused at the beginning. But it turned
Yeah.
out that this is how they are. They're very like,
Yeah.
that's how they say hi to each other, even if they don't know you. They just smile at you.
What a cool place.
It is a very nice place.
Los Angeles, that's not our culture really in Los Angeles to go around smiling at people.
Yeah,
I
sometimes.
try to do it.
But sometimes they return it back to you.
They do.
They
yeah.
do.
Do you take risks sometimes and like just have a smile to people?
I do. Well, this is actually, honestly, it happened in this building.
Uh-huh.
But then they don't respond. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I get that sometimes.
I don't get it personal. It's just, for me, it's like I feel like they were not expecting this.
Yeah.
So they are processing it. But then when they processed it, it would be too late for them to say, to return the smile of to say hi.
Such a quick passing. Yeah. That's funny. I try to take a risk and say, hey, we don't have to chat, but I'll say hi.
Yeah. However, there are some nice also people who initiate the hi here in this building.
Everybody here is really nice now. Really nice.
Yeah.
So, but they just don't know it.
Yeah.
But I know every single person here. It's gonna be crazy. Like, leaving this place. Like everybody's like a little bit of a friend to me.
Yeah.
There's only a few that I rarely see.
Yeah. How many residents are there?
How many residents? There's 40 apartments, and each one of them has.
So you probably have.
Each one of them has two, just minus a couple. So there's probably like 70 people here. Because most have two. Like you, Ryan, this nurse down in 113. She's only, I think, by herself. There's a few people by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Jack.
Oh, yeah. your son. I was like,
yeah.
He's such an adorable person.
Like, yeah. Man, what a path. And I would, geez, that's so cool. Just to think that, like, you get there, now you need, like, a place to stay. You go check in at your office, like, where your new job is and stuff. That must have been, like, what a relief to have that as your issue. Not, like, fleeing.
It's true.
It
was an easier...
And then you get 5 years of beautiful, clean air.
Yeah.
And just focus on your work in a nice environment where people are, like, really positive.
Yeah, they are very nice.
I'm going to Utah. That's it, man. That sounds great.
Yeah, Salt Lake City is... Okay, so if you want to live in Utah, Salt Lake City is very nice. It's a mix. It's not just... So Utah in general is a conservative state, right? And if you're...
Yeah.
And when I'm talking about conservatives, it's mainly Mormons, right?
Uh-huh.
Mormons are, again, this is what makes Utah, like, beautiful because of them. Other people, like people from outside Utah, they when I say Mormons, they think of them in a, not necessarily in a positive way. They think that they are very, like, strict.
Those types of families are some of the ones I was talking about earlier, when you're like, wow, what wonderful people.
Yeah. No, that's what made me love Utah, and they were very helpful. Even when I arrived, like, there was this woman. This is another story that somebody has to, shed light on her, because she raised all of her children, and her life dream was to get a PhD. And after she raised all of her children, she was 16. We both joined the same program at the same time. She went to a PhD program at 60.
You're
she
24.
Finished. Huh? I'm 24. She finished and then she retired. She wanted to achieve her dream. That's all what she wanted. And she was so helpful.
And this is instructional technology and mathematics.
So and then I did another major in statistics.
Okay.
So I did both degrees in instructional technology and in statistics.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And her story was pretty cool, inspiring.
Her story.
She had to really focus after all that time. 60 years old. And I wonder if how that changes her life. I should add her on Instagram.
Yeah.
You'll have to give me her name later, and then I'll see if she's on Instagram.
Yeah, she's very fun, very.
She must be cool. She has 5 kids.
Um, I don't know how many kids she have, but
Like a big Utah family. I come from a big family.
Yeah, yeah. She. I don't think she has like. She lived in California as well, so she's.
Okay.
She got from the culture here, and from the culture of Utah.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful state too, isn't it?
California.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love California.
Like, where have you gone? Have you gone like up the coast some? And
yeah, I've been. So here, the West Coast, I visited all of it. Like Seattle. Portland.
Wow!
Portland
all the way up. Yeah.
Portland is like something I really love, like this state.
Okay.
Oregon, and
yeah.
The city is Portland. California, I really love. I'm not very happy about the rent.
I know.
I'm like, why do you do that?
That is such...
like, there's a lot of spaces here in California.
Yeah.
I understand if this is happening in New York, but in California...
I know.
Yeah, that takes us back to the idea of greed and...
Mm-hmm. And that too fast. Like, just... Everything is so fast. We need more.
Yeah, more and more.
But that's
more,
we want to slow down. It's like, because we can, so we must. Like, we gotta get more. We gotta get more. And that's one of the things about the job that I have that I'm, getting away from. Just so I don't have to be. So that's not part. Like, if I have to deal with it, like, oh, my rent went up, I'll deal with it. But I don't want to be like the person who's like making it happen.
Yeah.
Even if it's not my choice, I'm still like. That's my energy. Is like.
Yeah, in the end,
I don't want to be surrounded by that energy.
In the end, yes, you are a human being, and even though you know that this is not you who's changing the rent to people,
yeah,
you're the one who's sucking the energy when you tell them.
Yeah,
hey.
I'm like being the person who is doing that. I'm being their hand.
Mm-hmm.
They're using me, and I have way too much responsibility and not enough authority.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
So, it's like, I'm out. Well, cool, man. And that brings us to when you were ready, we had the PhD, you're ready to get a job,
Yeah.
Did you have family that visited you in Utah?
No, I didn't. However, my brother, when I was in Utah, he visited the States, and he was in New York and Chicago, and he...
Cool. Did you get a flight out there?
Yeah, I went and I saw him there. But yeah, so I finished from Utah. It was very hard for me to leave, but then for me...
Because of the work?
Because of, like, living 5 years and, finding...
Oh, I see. When you were moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once I found a job here in LA, I had to move, right? But then I'm, like, leaving behind me, like, a lot of friends, 5 years of beautiful memories, and at the same time, it's like leaving your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like once you're in a comfort zone, why do you have to leave it, right? That's what we all think.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's when you grow, is when you're leaving this comfort zone. And if I stayed in Utah, yes, I would have been maybe a good citizen, a good employee, but I don't think I would have had this growth as I got, like, during the last 4 years.
You feel like you've grown?
I do. It's not just because of the job, it's also because of LA as it is, I've never been in a place such as LA, right? And that's something new. So this makes you feel like, this makes you learn to interact with people from all over the world, from different personalities, and and that makes you grow. That definitely makes you grow.
Yeah.
It's not just about what I'm doing at work. Also at work, I'm very happy at my work right now. But at the same time, I don't see myself in LA
forever.
forever.
Yeah.
And you know, you tell me, would you go back to Utah? I say no. Would you go back to Lebanon? I say no, because I don't want to repeat the same.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
thing.
doesn't feel like a good positive move.
Yeah, my like the whole world, like there's a huge space in the world. Why do I have to restrict myself?
Yeah.
You know, I still visit Utah. You know, since I moved from Utah, I probably the first year I visited Utah 12 times in the first year. And I still visit Utah. And in Lebanon, I go twice a year. So it's not like I don't want these places. I want, but I don't want to, like, I want something.
That's how you, all that traveling, that's how you went without doing the electric
With-
bill. Hey, they shut off my electric bill because I haven't paid it in like 13 months.
But I didn't know that. I haven't,
Yeah.
I thought like it was.
Like everything is automated. You're just like,
automated,
yeah.
right?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. And what did your because your mom came here not too long ago, right? Or who came? Your sister?
So I had friends visiting.
Oh, those were friends.
So usually friends visit with when I tell you like I have friends, is it okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have like friends from Utah. They like to visit. I have friends from Sweden. They like to visit, even from Lebanon. But family, unfortunately, for them they'll be like, well, just you come. It's easier if one person comes rather than the whole family.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool. You're right. The world is a big place, and you can tell that you have that mentality from, yeah, I'm going to another country right now to get to their airport. I have friends from Sweden come in, friends from Utah come in.
Yeah.
From where else? Sweden, from
so
Lebanon.
You like, you know, and see, this is the beauty of the United States. If you live here, and if you're open enough, you will be able to have friends from all over the world. Because it's a melting spot.
Yeah.
Like even in Utah, I was able to meet a lot of people like from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, from South America.
Yeah.
This is Utah, and Utah is considered to be like very. Nobody thinks of Utah when they come to the States. Everyone wants to go to either California or to
New York.
But even there, I was able to meet people. So how about LA here? You know, it's a melting spot.
Yeah, we're not just a 2-city country.
Yeah.
It's not just 2 cities and everything else.
Yeah.
There's like these states like Utah have thriving, amazing like culture. That's cool. All right, so I'm really glad that you did this. I want to talk about like briefly yesterday. You said that statistics is like applied in, strangely enough, in like the Hollywood movie cranking out industry. And you had like, you know, the ways that they tell like when to release a movie. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So
that's like this industry of this town. I was wondering if they know how much to budget for a movie, because they know, like, especially with the franchise type of movie that they have now, like part 8 of the race car movie. You know?
Yeah.
They know how much number 8 made, so they know how much to spend on number 9.
So they kind of like they do predictions based on their previous data.
Yeah.
Yeah, statistics. Honestly, like this is the era of big data right now, and there's data coming from all over.
Yeah.
Especially with the smartphone, the computers. Like you're continuously like companies are continuously collecting data about you.
Yeah.
And when it could be applied in all industries. It could be applied in entertainment industries, in tech industries, financial sectors, even.
Could it be applied for
healthcare.
good and for enlightenment in any way?
For good
and enlightenment,
for
you know, lawyers have to take pro bono cases or something, or
yeah,
and like the Jewish faith, they have certain things of charity, like, you know, different churches have ideas of where you're supposed to give some of your time to something. Like I think that like statistics, sometimes understanding of statistics would make people a little more aware of how they're being, you know, kind of manipulated, or you know, like, you know.
So going back, I just want to make sure that I understood your point in terms of could it be used in an enlightenment?
Yeah, like an enlightening way, like one way that I think of would be just when you're reading a news article and then you say, hey, I happen to be a statistician and I happen to think that this might be misleading people
Yeah.
because if you really approach this from my profession, you're kind of omitting this certain fact.
Right.
Boom, you just helped the world a little bit by adding your expertise in that like comment or whatever. But
Definitely.
so I guess I'm thinking about that, like doing pro bono work to
Yeah.
help the world, in something. Like,
there's
like how many people are educated below a third grade level in the deep south? Like that type of thing. Like how would we get that data? Who's got those numbers?
well, definitely the census, like when they do the
Yeah.
census, they have this kind of data, and data has been like it's always been collected about these things. However, this is like more in terms of consuming statistics. So there's two things: either you consume or you produce statistics.
Okay.
Right? I'm producing statistics because I'm a statistician. I'm like playing with the data, manipulating it so that I can find something like some insight.
How it can be applied. Okay. Yeah.
However, like some people, well, not just some people, all of us, including those who produce it, are also consumers of statistics because it's always coming from, like statistics is coming from all over these days, from the TV, from Facebook, from like the articles that's being posted on Facebook, from even like when you hear like these politicians, and I keep saying politicians because mainly they use it and they lie using statistics. They say like, oh, 30% of the people do this or do that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you remember these numbers? Like, when you're on stage, how do you remember like these exact numbers?
Yeah, the campaign
Yeah,
seasons are
yeah.
insane. They're crazy.
And where did you get these numbers from?
Yeah.
That's how you would convince me. Like, but you just saying, you throwing out a number, you're not gonna convince me unless if you tell me how the data was collected. Was it, again, sometimes like you can just like your sample would be some people that are let's say if we're talking about democrats, they might do a sample just from the democratic people and view their opinion about a certain issue. Of course the percentage is going to be high on a
Yeah,
certain issue.
I mean, honestly,
And the
and
same,
it's just about a bit. And when you see it on the news, it's like a business. They're just doing things that are,
yeah,
that people are gonna watch.
yeah, but statistics definitely could be used in industries such as entertainment, like to do predictions if it's like, let's say if a movie is going to be a hit or not.
Yeah.
These days, even like on YouTube, they are trying to see what makes a video go viral or not.
Okay.
They have to like based on the videos that went viral, what
I'm gonna ask you how to make a podcast
how
viral
to-
based on which
Well,
ones are the most
I won't be
statistically
able-
viable or something.
I won't be able. Nobody can give you this answer unless if there's data. So
Yeah, you gotta have
and
the
when
data.
when I talk about data, meaning that what people before you have done in terms of podcasts and trying to see, okay, well, this podcast was successful. What are the attributes of this podcast or characteristics? Is it the length? Is it the
Ah,
like the accent of the person who's talking, or is it the where like the channel of that there's
yeah.
many things
I guess
that,
I would like to know how many of them are low quality at
yeah,
the start. Like some people have a sound booth and like a sound protective material, and they edit it together.
Right.
Like mine right now is just run and gun, press record, and then I don't know, publish it.
which is more, I think, in my opinion, this is more authentic compared to like trying to
Yeah, and I think maybe that'll happen. Like it'll just sound better and more engaging later. But I've always had a real love of just, did I tell you I studied journalism in school?
no.
Yeah, so I have this, and I've always, even like as a fifth, sixth grader, I remember just like having the newspaper laid out in front of me and just like just really digging the sense of humor of a writer, or like the way that they described something so terrifyingly, or like I always liked journalism.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college and somebody's like, hey, read this, Hunter S. Thompson or this Jack Kerouac, and that's like really run and gun. Like, it's journalism. They're trying to shed light on the world in a way that's not. It's not like you're a good reporter, so you get a job with the Post, the Washington Post or something, and you learn how to be really good for that venue. But it's like journalism in the way that you do it. So
Yeah.
in a way, when I hear people using this platform of podcasting, I'm like, those are journalists, and that's the type that seems to make sense for me right now.
Yeah.
Because I dig, like, yeah, there's no money in it. unless people listen, like, and there's a precedent for that. I mean, some of my favorite podcasters, they start off not making a dime at all, but they just wanted to do it, and now they're like, hey, we're sponsored by Starbucks today.
And maybe that's why what makes them successful, because they were doing it not for the sake of money. They were doing it more because they really enjoy doing it. They really like doing it.
Yeah.
And that's like, definitely every one of us likes to have the cash, because that in this
Yeah.
in this world, that's what we need these days,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to survive. But however, for them, like, that was a second priority compared to
Yeah.
what they like or what they don't like. In my opinion, I don't know.
Yeah, a second priority. And you can try different priorities, in your life. You can
Yeah.
prioritize something more
Yeah.
at a certain time. That's what I'm doing.
Mm.
So anything else? Did you have anything funny that happened yesterday or anything?
Funny?
Yeah.
Um,
Or was it successful? Did you go out and like enjoy your Friday night?
so
Was it Friday night last
it
night?
was Saturday night.
Saturday night.
No, I went out to my friend's house so that we can go out, but then we ended up smoking and staying.
Okay. Yeah.
But nothing. Yeah,
That's
nothing,
great.
Nothing.
I love just a nice relaxing night too.
Yeah.
Nice relaxing night. Man, so anything else? I mean, I think that was like a really
Yeah.
cool way to talk to
yeah,
you and
Of course, I
get
enjoy
like a little of your story. You
talking
did?
to you. Yeah.
Anything else?
I guess that's it.
All right, we're good. If you can think of a name for my podcast later, tell me.
All right. Yeah, I will do.
I think I have to flesh it out first and then see what it ends up being. All right.
Well,
Goodbye.
thank you so much.
Thank you deeply. This was like, it's a weird thing to ask somebody, but thank you so much.